The deadliest philosophy was born in the crucible of ancient civilization, a time of tumultuous change and unending conflict. It was an era marked by the rise and fall of towering empires, the evolution of profound ideas, and the blossoming of unprecedented human ingenuity. Great warriors stormed across the landscape, clashing against one another in their quest for dominance. The cacophonous symphony of these clashes echoed across the barren plains, mountains, and river valleys. It was a time when strategy and cunning propelled leaders to the pinnacle of power, while their adversaries were banished to the dustbin of history. In the background, ordinary people too were caught in this whirlwind of change, struggling, surviving, adapting. Life for them was a constant battle against uncertainty. Every sunset brought new challenges, every sunrise brought renewed hope. Their hearts beat to the rhythm of survival, their spirits unbroken by the tremors of change. The society was a tapestry of diverse cultures, each enriched by their unique philosophies. These philosophies were like the different threads weaving together, forming a grand design of human cognition and behavior. They were the undercurrents guiding the tidal waves of change sweeping across civilizations. Amidst this torrent of transformation, power was not just sought, it was the ultimate currency. It was the beacon that guided ambitious leaders through the treacherous waters of political intricacy. It was the driving force that shaped kingdoms and created dynasties. It was the thirst for power that gave birth to heroes, villains, and legends that still echo in the corridors of time. In this complex game, morals often took a back seat. Justification for actions was frequently found in their outcomes. Victory in all its glory was the ultimate vindication. The price paid, the sacrifices made, were often forgotten, overshadowed by the glory of triumph. The concept of ends justifying the means embedded itself deep within the psyche of this ancient civilization, and thus it was a time when power was the ultimate prize, and the ends always justified the means. So what is this philosophy? Nihilism, absurdism, or fascism? At its core, this philosophy espouses the acquisition and preservation of power at all costs. This belief system, this way of thinking, is deeply rooted in the essence of human existence, the primal urge to dominate, to conquer, to rule. It speaks to an ancient instinct within us, a remnant from our ancestors who lived in times when survival was a game of power. It is a philosophy that disregards morality. The moral compass, the universal dictum of right and wrong, does not exist in this worldview. It is a place where the ends justify the means. It is a realm where the powerful thrive and the powerless are left in the dust. It is a doctrine that encourages ruthlessness and ambition, exalts the strong and spurns the weak. Central to this philosophy is the belief in the inherent right of the powerful. It posits that power, once acquired, comes with an inalienable right to use it. It is not to be questioned or challenged, but to be accepted as a natural order of things. It is the ultimate validation of the survival of the fittest. This paradigm further suggests that the exercise of power is not only a right, but also a duty. It is the responsibility of the mighty to exercise their power, not for the common good, but for the furthering of their own interests. It is a duty to themselves, to their position, and to the philosophy they champion. Furthermore, it does not concern itself with the consequences of such actions, the fallout, the damage, the chaos. None of these factors into the calculation. It is an existence devoid of empathy, a life fueled by ego, ambition, and an insatiable thirst for power. It is a philosophy that glorifies the self, the individual, over the collective good. In conclusion, this philosophy champions the idea that might is right, and that those who possess power have the right and indeed the duty to wield it, regardless of the consequences. Throughout the ages, this philosophy has taken many forms and borne many names. It has appeared in every corner of the globe, sprouting from the rich soil of human ambition and taking root in the hearts of those who crave power. It is a philosophy that transcends time and borders, a potent force that has echoed through the corridors of history, its resonance felt in every epoch and era. This philosophy was prevalent in the ancient civilizations of Egypt and Rome, where pharaohs and emperors used its tenets to justify their absolute rule. It shaped the fate of empires and kingdoms, fueling their rise and eventual fall. It was there in the grand courts of the Middle Ages, whispered in the ears of kings and queens as they plotted to expand their territories and consolidate their rule. This philosophy found fertile ground in the age of exploration and colonization, driving men to sail across vast and treacherous oceans in search of new lands to conquer. It was the silent partner of the colonizers as they stripped indigenous people of their rights and resources. It was the rallying cry of the imperialists, their justification for subjugation and exploitation. In the modern era, this philosophy was the lifeblood of dictators and tyrants, providing a framework for their brutal regimes. It gave rise to horrific wars and genocides, forever altering the landscape of nations. It birthed oppressive systems that stifled freedom and human rights, leaving deep scars that can still be seen today. At times, this philosophy has been subtle, operating in the background, quietly influencing decisions and dictating actions. At other times it has been brazen, its devastating impact evident for all to see. It has taken on many guises, sometimes cloaked in the guise of progress and development, sometimes wrapped in the veneer of nationalism and patriotism. But regardless of the form it takes or the name it bears, this philosophy has remained unchanged at its core. It is a philosophy that thrives on power and control, a philosophy that disregards the value of human life and dignity. It has been the driving force behind empires, dictators and tyrants, shaping the course of history and leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. But it is not the philosophy itself that is deadly. This is a philosophy that on the surface appears innocuous, even potentially beneficial. It is a philosophy that suggests a path forward, a way to better oneself and one's society. However, this is merely the veneer, the surface gloss that hides the deeper, darker implications. This is a philosophy that has been manipulated and distorted beyond recognition by those who hold the power. Those at the top have twisted the inherent ideals and principles to serve their own ends, to consolidate their own power, to further their own ambitions. These individuals have not merely interpreted the philosophy, they have warped it, skewed it, bent it to their will. This process of twisting and distorting is not an overnight occurrence. It is a slow, methodical process, a gradual erosion of the original ideals and principles. The philosophy in its purest form is not harmful, but in the hands of those who seek power, it becomes a dangerous tool. It is the unchecked ambition that transforms this philosophy into something sinister. The desire for power, for control, the lust for dominance, these are the driving forces behind the misuse of this philosophy. These unchecked aspirations, devoid of any ethical or moral considerations, pose a great threat to the values we hold dear. The unbridled lust for power is another facet of this dangerous transformation. It is not just the desire for power, but the relentless pursuit of it, the insatiable craving, the incessant hunger. This unyielding lust is not satisfied with mere power. It demands absolute dominance, unchecked authority. It seeks to quench its thirst with the subjugation of others, with the crushing of dissent, with the silencing of voices. Moreover, it is the blatant disregard for human life and dignity that is the most horrifying aspect of this dangerous interpretation of the philosophy. It is the utter dehumanization, the complete objectification, the absolute dismissal of the sanctity of human life. This philosophy in the hands of the power-hungry becomes a weapon, a tool of oppression, of subjugation, of systematic cruelty. It is the unchecked ambition, the unbridled lust for power, and the disregard for human life and dignity that make this philosophy so dangerous. And so we arrive at the chilling conclusion. The journey we've embarked on together has been one of reflection, understanding and revelation. Today we're delving into a topic that has been the source of endless debate and contemplation throughout the eons of human existence. We're talking about a concept, a mindset, a philosophy, if you will, that has been responsible for some of profound and devastating events in our shared history. Now, we're not speaking of a particular school of thought, a religious doctrine or a political ideology. Rather, we're exploring a philosophy that resides deep within the recesses of the human psyche. This philosophy, unlike the benign teachings of Socrates or the enlightening meditations of Buddha, does not seek to enrich our lives. Neither does it reflect the pursuit of wisdom or an enlightened understanding of our universe like the philosophies of Aristotle or Kant. No, this philosophy is far more insidious, far more pervasive. It's a philosophy born from the darkest aspects of human nature. It is a philosophy that values power above all else. It does not care for the sanctity of life, for the principles of freedom and equality, or for the ideals of love and compassion. Instead, it revels in domination, in subjugation, in the exercise of absolute, unyielding power. It's a philosophy that has fueled the ambitions of tyrants, sparked the flames of conflict, and ushered in eras of suffering and despair. This philosophy is a testament to the destructive potential of power. It serves as a warning tale, if you will, to all those who seek to wield power. It's a stark reminder of the consequences of the misuse of power. It's a reminder that power in the wrong hands can lead to oppression and tyranny, to the loss of freedom and dignity, to the degradation of our shared humanity. And yet, despite its destructive nature, this philosophy continues to persist. It's an unfortunate reflection of the darker side of human nature, of our capacity for cruelty and indifference. It's a reflection that, while unpleasant, is necessary to acknowledge if we are to grow as a society and as a species. Thus, as we stand at the precipice looking into the abyss of this deadliest philosophy, we must remain vigilant, for it is only through understanding and acknowledging these dark aspects of our nature that we can hope to overcome them. It is a testament to the destructive potential of power and a stark reminder of the consequences of its misuse. As we delve into the annals of history, we are confronted with the stark reality of our past. A past that is filled with tales of glory and despair, tales of hope and desolation. It's a past that, to many, appears to be shrouded in mystery, with secrets that have been hidden by the sands of time. Yet, as we delve deeper, we unravel tales that have been etched into the fabric of our existence. We stumble upon the devastating impact of this deadly philosophy, a philosophy that was birthed in the minds of those who sought power and control. Its influence, subtle yet profound, has found its way into every corner of our world, permeating societies, cultures, and civilizations. From the bustling city streets to the towns, from the mighty fortresses to the humble homes, from the throbbing hearts of nations to the silent whispers of the wilderness, this philosophy has left a mark. Its footprints can be traced back through the corridors of time, each imprint a testimony to its overwhelming presence. Yet in the face of such immense adversity, we are not left desolate. We find that we are not mere bystanders in this intricate dance of history. Instead, we find ourselves to be active participants, players on this grand stage of life. We see the resilience of the human spirit, a resilience that defies the odds, a resilience that is born out of the ashes of despair, rising like a phoenix to reclaim its rightful place in the annals of history. We see the capacity for change, a capacity that is inherent in every human being. This capacity serves of hope, guiding us through the tumultuous waves of life. It illuminates our path, providing us with the courage to confront our fears, to embrace our weaknesses, and to transform them into strengths. We see the hope for a brighter future, a hope that is not merely an illusion, but a tangible reality. This hope serves as a lighthouse in the stormy seas of life, guiding us towards the shore of a new dawn. It is a hope that is born out of faith, faith in our abilities and faith in our potential to shape the future. And yet amid all the chaos and uncertainty, we find solace in the knowledge that we have the power to influence the course of history. We realize that we are not mere pawns in the game of life, but rather we are the game changers, the architects of our destiny. And yet we also see the resilience of the human spirit, the capacity for change, and the hope for a brighter future. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of darkness. We appreciate your time and your eagerness to plunge with us into this mysterious abyss, this enigmatic realm shrouded in the most profound obscurity. We're about to explore a world that is often avoided, often misunderstood. A world that frightens many with its impenetrable shadows and chilling mysteries. But we believe that the best way to combat fear, the best way to dispel the darkness, is to grasp a light of understanding, to ignite a spark of knowledge that can illuminate even the blackest of blackness. We believe that by understanding the darkness, by acknowledging its existence and its power, we can begin to control it, to shape it, to use it to our advantage. It is not something to be feared, but to be learned, to be studied, to be mastered. As we venture into this shadowy realm, we are armed not with swords, but with pens, not with physical force, but with the power of knowledge. For the pen is not just a simple writing instrument, but a tool of expression, a tool of discovery, a tool of enlightenment. It has the power to shape ideas, to dictate narratives, to influence minds, and to change hearts. In our hands, the pen becomes a beacon, a torch that can guide us through the thickest of darkness, that can reveal to us the secrets hidden in the deepest of shadows. It is our protector and our guide, our weapon and our shield. With it, we can fight against ignorance, against misunderstanding, against fear. We can reveal the truth hidden beneath the layers of darkness. We can dispel the shadows that cloud our minds. We can illuminate the world with the light of knowledge. And in this journey, knowledge is not just a source of power, it is the most powerful weapon of all. It is the key to understanding, to acceptance, to change. It is the force that can shatter the walls of ignorance, that can bridge the gaps of misunderstanding, that can bring light to the darkest corners of our minds and hearts. It is not the sword that conquers, but the pen. Not the physical might, but the power of understanding. In the face of darkness, in the face of ignorance, it is knowledge that reigns supreme. Before we conclude, let's take a moment to delve into a philosophy that's often seen as the most dangerous of all: nihilism. A school of thought that asserts life is without objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value. It's a stark contrast to the philosophy we've been discussing, where knowledge and wisdom hold the highest regard. Nihilism, in its most extreme form, can lead to a complete disregard for societal norms and values. It breeds a sense of hopelessness that can be destructive to both the individual and society as a whole. When life lacks meaning, the motivation to contribute positively to society can dwindle. This can result in a vicious cycle of despair and destruction. There are numerous examples of nihilism throughout history. Perhaps one of the most well-known is the rise of fascism in the 20th century, where nihilistic ideologies led to widespread devastation and loss of life. This is just one instance of how dangerous such a philosophy can be. As we end this segment, let's remember the destructive impacts of nihilism on society and human life. It serves as a stark reminder of the dangers associated with this philosophy. While we can't stop people from adopting such beliefs, we can strive to promote a more positive outlook, where life has meaning, purpose, and value. The choice, as always, is ours.